the CEO and host of the Vet SOS podcast. And also, we're going to talk about many, many things. Sean, thanks for stopping by. And we're going to talk about Suicide Prevention Month, especially for military. Why is there so many suicides from vets? Is it PTSD or is it just, I mean, it's really sad. I don't even know the numbers.
Thanks for having me back, Neil. So for years we were told 22 a day. You'll see a lot of organizations titled that. There's a lot of slogans all dealing with 22 a day. I think it was a year and a half ago, 2 years ago, information came out that it's probably double that. So we're looking at like 40 a day, or more. And once we can answer the question why, we can truly solve it. Now, I think obviously PTSD is probably a piece of that. Isolationism, I think, plays a big piece in that. And if you think about the military and what we're trained to do, like what our job is, we see things that most people should never see. And we experience things that people should never experience. And, unfortunately, that those are things that you can't necessarily always get past. And those things will continue to weigh on people. And they get to a point where they, unfortunately, don't know how to handle it. And they take the ultimate solution. And, it's unfortunate.
It's definitely unfortunate because, Sean, I think that what happens in this process is that, that we go down this route and people commit suicide after they leave, and you're like, what happened? Why? They seem fine. And this is the problem that happens. Your mental health can change dramatically faster than you can imagine. Any human being can
Right.
go from feeling great to certain things happening, and absolutely the world is over. And then, if not having the proper people around them, surrounding themselves with, and they feel like this was my life and now this is all I have, what am I going to do next? Or, oh my goodness, I just lost for maybe anger issues or certain things, lost this person. Then you get alone. And isolation, I think that is a great point you made. If you don't have a lot of family members around you, you don't have a lot of people that you're getting able to talk to, you're not able to see people on a regular basis, it can really deteriorate and you feel like the world has turned against you and everything is wrong. And how do we look over our veterans to make sure they're not alone if they're going through problems, alcoholism, PTSD, all these different things? Maybe they had a divorce, maybe they had a serious breakup, or God forbid, lost a loved one. What do we do?
Well, the biggest thing is trying to get people involved. Get them out of their isolation bubble. Get them around some fellow veterans or other people just to have that sense of community. While you were speaking there, it got me thinking about the TBI side of it as well.
Mm-hmm.
You look at like in your past profession with wrestling, you got people like Chris Benoit and stuff like that. Those things that have happened, the NFL. You've had similar things happen, and so there's a lot I think we're still learning, and thank God there's been some amazing research done, and we've learned quite a bit over I don't know the last 20 years or so as it pertains to it. But I think that's another one of those major factors, and because soldiers are getting blown up on the battlefield, and
Oh.
those concussions and things like that, and so there's still a lot to do, but I think that the biggest thing that we can do as a community is get out there and get people out of their isolation, get them involved, get them coming to, even if it's just some sort of support group, or it's going to breakfast or lunch once a week, something to get them involved and let them know that other people are here, and we're willing to listen and help where we can.
You look at PTSD and you look at and you look at concussions. You put those two things combined, it's like dynamite, because the problem is that certain ideations come in your head or reminding yourself of specific things that occurred before, but then yet you also have a head injury where you have certain things. I love the fact that there's people like one of my clients, Simkovich Concussion Institute, where ultimately at the end of the day, what they bring to the table that makes it a much better situation is that you can cure, help concussions. If you've had concussions, you need to see a doctor like Dr. Charles Simkovich. I mean, there's not many of these doctors out there that are not going to go and you're going to the hospital. They're going to treat you and say you'll never get better. There is a way to heal the brain. And that has to do with PTSD and that has to do with something else. But again, the military sometimes doesn't have the healthcare system. The VA is not the greatest. I'm sure you'll attest to that. So that you run into these situations. Now, here's a question: if that you have a job full time, do you have to take the VA benefits, or can you use other healthcare benefits that the company gives you?
So, yeah, I mean, yeah, you're open to whatever, right? So, depending on your level of disability, if you file a disability claim with the VA, you're going to get certain insurance benefits out of the VA. Um, if you're 100%, then I believe it's a once a year requirement to go get checked out to see how everything's going. But you can do more with the VA that way. You can obviously, like as a retiree from the military, I have TRICARE insurance, continued that once I got out. And then, of course, through work, you could have insurance or whatever. So, I mean, you have those options, and it's how you want to do it, right? And I mean, you're talking about organizations as well. And it pains me to plug a University of Florida organization because I'm a diehard Tennessee Volunteer fan, but um, the University of Florida Brain Wellness Program, phenomenal. And the military has TBI clinics now too, and they do a great job there as well. But this UF Brain Wellness program, I participated in it here in Jacksonville. It's a 3-day assessment. You go through all kinds of things to see, you know, how your brain function is and things like that. And especially if you've had TBIs, it's just a wonderful program. And, depending on what your needs are, they have additional services that they provide. So there are definitely things out there now, and it's free to veterans. So,
Yeah,
it's
that's
one of those
great.
things that, if, and you don't have to live here in Jacksonville. Anywhere in the country, you can come to this program. You just have to go through the application process and everything. And, so if you've had a TBI or you think you've had a TBI, and even if you're not sure you had a TBI, you just feel like something's off mentally, I would look into these types of programs because they have a whole network that they work with doing all kinds of amazing things.
The, Absolutely, that's a great point that you made. Is that the concussion process? I am just glad to know that. Guess what we saw in concussion and all that is not true. That you can heal the brain
Yeah.
even from concussions, and certain doctors are finally saying that there are ways to help the brain and multiple facets to take whatever concussions you have and heal the brain. But you add those two components, you add isolation, the best thing to do. Now, if you know a military veteran that looks like they're going through things, what would you recommend to do for you to do? If you, let's say you're a loved one of a military vet who's retired, who seems like they're going through stuff, or have know of people that are, high school, college, somebody of, what do you recommend to do if you think they're going down that path?
Well, first of all, I would recommend if you know anybody that's ever served in the military, reach out periodically and just see how they're doing. Because a lot of times, especially for military people, you'll get, oh, I'm fine, everything's good, and it'll be some short, curt answer, and they could be perfectly fine, or they could just not want to deal with what they got going on right now. So, reach out periodically and see how your military veteran friends are doing. Because that'll go a long way, and you never know if your interaction could be the thing that changes the trajectory of where they're heading. Now if you visibly see things that, just don't seem right, talk to them. In the military, we use different suicide prevention techniques. Assist is the big program we use, and one of the things is you outright ask them if they're feeling suicidal. And there was always a big fear that, just by asking, you're going to trigger them to do that. And that's been proven not to be the case, but if someone's truly feeling that way and you confront them and ask them, there is a good chance they're going to tell you one way or the other. So, don't be scared to actually ask them, and, let them know you're there for them. And, even if it's just to listen, or maybe they need a ride somewhere, whatever the case may be, reach out and be there for them.
All right. Best place to go right now, Sean, is where can they go?
To check out the podcast and everything we're doing, vetsospodcast.com. We have a bunch of resources on there. We even have a bunch of videos that deal with all kinds of things. We've had a couple psychotherapists come on talking about PTSD and how they help people, like Michael Cortina and the Cortina method. So you can check out that episode and see what he's doing. And of course, we've also interviewed Kristen Christie, the co-founder of the 988 Suicide Hotline. Great resource that you can call anytime if you feel you need help. So check us out there, check out those types of episodes. And if you need help, seek the help you need.
All right. You're listening and watching the